Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, in this series, which I am beginning again, I have produced a video about criminal law, and you can watch that. It tells you the process. What I'm going to do a video today about is criminal defendants. And I think in this political climate, it is very relevant and important to give you my perspective in my 40 years in the law business about criminal defendants and the variety of criminal defendants that there are and how the system should treat them very differently. Very differently. And when they're not treated differently and they're all treated the same, there's real problems. And you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, aren't we all equal under the law? Yeah. But there is a difference, and let me go through this. First off, sometimes a very good person makes a mistake. And that mistake could be a crime. Should that good person who happens to make an isolated mistake for the first time have his life destroyed over a criminal charge? No. How about a good person who's desperate and frustrated? Let me give you an example. There's two kinds of thieves. The thief who doesn't want to work, the thief who intrudes and takes things from somebody needlessly out of greed or whatever. Then there's the thief who's desperate, steals a loaf of bread. Should somebody who shoplifts a loaf of bread be treated the same as someone who breaks into a home and becomes a burglary while somebody's sleeping? No. And there's a reason why there's different levels of crimes in the criminal code. Then you have the crimes where there's no victim. There literally is no victim. And then sometimes it matters who the victim is. A victim who's an insurance company should be looked at a little differently. Sorry, just should. Than someone who's a victim in their person. Then you have a bad person who does something minor. And then you have the worst, a bad person who does serious crimes repeatedly. And in our country today, you have those people being treated like everyone else. And they shouldn't be. The way to end crime and reduce crime is really simple. You put away the bad criminals. You put them away. You lock them up. If they're not locked up, they're out committing crime. It's that simple. Then you have a good person who commits a serious crime. No record at all, and then they commit a murder. Well, they got to be dealt with accordingly. Do you understand? Nobody ever talks about this. It does make a difference and should make a difference who the defendant is and what they do. For example, there's a reason why people get character witnesses. You know, where people get letters speaking for someone. If you're a pillar in the community and you happen to screw up one time and nobody really got hurt, your life shouldn't be ruined. Then you have these criminals. The guilt is obvious. They're guilty as hell. That's why 90-some-odd% of the people plead guilty. That makes a difference. Then you have the innocent. And there's nothing worse than this. I've been in this situation where you're charged with something that you're innocent of. That's scary. That's the scariest, is when you're innocent. Then you have, and this is where lawyers make the most money, you're guilty, but the prosecutor might not be able to prove it. Guilty, innocent, guilty, but maybe they can't prove it. Lawyers make a lot of money on those. Then you have the worst of the worst. What I call the sick, deviant, evil crime. Human traffickers, child molesters, child rapists. They should be put to death, in my opinion. There is a reason why you have different areas of law, different degrees. You've heard the degree, first degree, second degree. There's a reason for that. The whole goal and purpose of the criminal code is to punish and protect. That's what it is. You can also throw in there rehabilitation. but it's really to punish and also protect. How do we punish? Fines, like my not wearing a seatbelt, $25. You've got probation. By the way, I've had people actually serve their time rather than go on probation because probation can be such a pain in the ass. You have jail terms, term of a sentence, life sentence, which I don't understand. Why we pay somebody to serve life in jail makes no sense to me. Then you got the death penalty. I think we need more than the death penalty. Then recently, President Trump has done, and Biden, this has been the news. Commuting a sentence means you don't have to serve any more of your sentence. Clemency, you're let out. Pardon is when your crime goes away. You've never even committed the crime. That's what a pardon is. Rehabilitation, I think, works on some crimes. I do not think it works with crimes of child molestation. White-collar crime. I hate to say this. People always get worried about white-collar crime, the sentences are less. Well, the reason why is because white-collar crime, you do not have the violence to an individual and a human being like you do with a white-collar crime. Let me give you an example. Bill Erpenbeck, what he did was terrible. But his getting 28 years for that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Why? Everybody got their money back. Everybody got paid. The only person who didn't was the bank who was in on it. The system in our country, no doubt, is the best system in the world. But it is far from perfect and needs improvement. And you know one reason why? Because money still matters way too much. Money matters way too much. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a great day.